Okay, so picture this. You're right in the thick of this huge project, right?
Hmm.
And bam, you hit a wall.
Oh, yeah.
You're staring at this super complex problem,
Hmm.
like a tricky piece of code or
Yeah.
like a really dense project spec. And honestly, it feels like you're trying to read hieroglyphics.
Absolutely.
I bet you've been there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, you're someone who dives headfirst into challenges and you love leveling up your skills. So in this deep dive, we're going to learn how to break down even the most complex problem statements.
Love it.
We're going to be pulling some awesome tips from the Algo Academy blog's guide.
Oh, yeah, that's a great resource.
It's packed with strategies that'll help you decode practically anything.
Really is.
Ever feel like you're spending way too much time just figuring out what a problem is even asking?
Ugh, all the time.
Today, we're changing that.
Yes.
First things first.
Okay.
Why is it so crucial to be able to break down these problems quickly and accurately?
Speed matters.
Right.
And not just for like those super intense coding interviews.
Yeah.
But in any project, the faster you can grasp the problem, the more time you have to come up with creative solutions.
Makes sense.
The Algo Academy blog actually highlights this.
Okay.
And they say it's also about accuracy and like reducing that overwhelmed feeling.
Oh, totally.
Who wants to waste brain power deciphering the question when you could be solving it?
Exactly. Let's get to the good stuff already.
Oh, wait.
So how do we do it?
Well,
How about we put on our detective hats
okay.
and see how the Algo Academy blog suggests we crack the code, so to speak.
I love that analogy.
Right.
They basically say we should approach it like we're solving a mystery.
Right.
Every problem, they say, has clues.
I like it.
So the first step is to identify the key components.
Right.
What's the input, the output, and are there any constraints?
Gotcha. So it's like identifying the suspects, the evidence, and the limits of our case.
Exactly.
And every good mystery needs a few examples, right?
It
To
can.
give us a taste of what we're dealing with.
Yes, pay really close attention to any examples they give, because they often highlight very specific aspects of the problem.
Oh, so it's like a sneak peek into the solution.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our clues. We know what we're looking for, but time is ticking.
Yeah.
How do we actually speed up the interpretation process?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
reading every single word 5 times over just isn't practical.
No, it's not.
What does Algo Academy blog say about that?
Well, this is where they introduce skimming and scanning techniques.
Ooh, I've heard of those.
Yeah, so skimming is all about getting the main idea.
Okay,
Like, think reading the first and last sentences of a paragraph,
got it.
and then scanning is more focused.
Okay.
Like you're looking for keywords, numbers, the things that really jump out as crucial.
So there's like a two-pronged approach.
Exactly.
Skim for the overall context and then scan for the specific details that matter most.
Precisely. And they give a really practical example in the blog.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's say you're looking at a problem about finding the maximum element in an array.
Okay, classic coding problem.
Right. So when you scan, your eyes should immediately dart to words like array maximum and element.
Those are the important ones.
Right, because those words tell you the core of what you're dealing with.
And by combining those two techniques,
Yes.
you can basically extract the essence of the problem without getting bogged down in every single detail.
Exactly.
That's super helpful, especially when you're under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Think of it like learning to quickly assess a situation.
Right.
It's a vital skill for anyone working with complex information.
Huge time saver.
Absolutely.
Okay, so speed is important,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't just skim and scan our way through everything.
No, definitely not.
We need to make sure we actually understand what we're reading.
Right.
What kind of strategies does the Algo Academy blog recommend for that?
Well, one thing they emphasize is active reading.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It means you're engaging with the text as you go.
Okay.
Ask yourself questions, summarize sections in your own words, jot down notes if it helps.
So it's like having a conversation with the text.
Exactly.
Instead of just passively absorbing the words, you're really thinking about them and making sure they make sense.
Exactly. And the more you practice this, the easier it will become to recognize patterns in problem statements.
Oh, that's interesting.
You'll start to see similarities to problems you've tackled before, and you'll develop an intuition for what types of solutions might work.
It's like developing a problem-solving instinct.
Yes, exactly.
That's so cool. Any other tricks up our sleeve for decoding these complex problems?
Well, the Algo Academy blog also talks about something called chunking information.
Chunking information.
Yeah, it's a way to group related pieces of information together
Okay.
to make it easier to process and remember.
That makes sense.
So think about grouping constraints into categories or combining similar requirements.
So it's like organizing your mental workspace to
Exact.
make it easier to see the big picture.
Ex-
So we've got some great techniques for dissecting problems and understanding them quickly. But let's be honest, reading about it is one thing, putting it into practice is where the real magic happens.
I completely agree.
Right.
And the Algo Academy blog has some suggestions for fun ways to practice.
Okay, I'm all ears.
How about turning it into a game?
Ooh, I like games.
Right, so try timed reading exercises using coding problems from websites like LeetCode HackerRank or even Algo Academy itself.
I love that gamifying learning is always a win.
Absolutely.
It's a fun way to test your skills and see how quickly you can break down a problem statement.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Learning Algo Academy blog, also mentioned something that I think is so important, that discussing problems with others.
Oh, for sure. It's like having a study buddy for your problem-solving journey.
Right. Explaining your thought process and hearing different perspectives can really help you deepen your understanding and catch things you might have missed.
Yes, and honestly, it's just more fun to learn with others.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We talked about why speed is important, how to break down a problem, and some really cool techniques for quick interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But even with the best strategies, we all make mistakes sometimes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It happens to everyone.
It does.
What does Algo Academy blog say about avoiding some of the common pitfalls when it comes to problem interpretation?
Well, they highlight a few key things to watch out for.
Okay.
Rushing through the problem and overlooking crucial details is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Another is making assumptions instead of carefully reading the problem statement.
Ugh, I am so guilty of both of those.
Really?
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of trying to solve a problem and just totally miss a critical piece of information.
It happens.
It does.
That's why they stress the importance of careful reading, asking clarifying questions when needed, and remembering that each problem is unique.
So slow down, pay attention to the details, and don't jump to conclusions.
Exactly. And always keep those constraints in mind.
Right.
They often hold valuable clues about what the solution should look like,
Well, that's a good point.
and they can prevent you from going down the wrong path.
Great advice. So we've covered the basics, we've talked about potential pitfalls, and now I'm curious, what if we want to take our interpretation skills to the next level?
Okay.
Like black belt ninja level?
I like it.
What does Algo Academy blog say about more advanced strategies?
For those extra tough problems, they recommend something called multi-pass reading.
Multi-pass reading.
Intrigued.
Oh, definitely tell me more.
It's all about approaching the problem statement in multiple rounds,
Okay.
each time with a different focus.
So it's not about just reading it over and over again, it's about reading it with a different purpose each time.
Yes, exactly. Think of the first pass as a reconnaissance mission.
Okay.
You're just trying to get a general overview, like scoping out the terrain.
First pass, big picture, got it.
Exactly. Then on the second pass, you zoom in on the key components and constraints,
Okay.
identifying the pieces of the puzzle and the rules of the game.
Okay. I'm seeing how this builds a deeper understanding. What about the third pass?
That's where you go full-on Sherlock Holmes,
All right.
hunting for those subtle details and tricky edge cases that could trip you up.
So each pass has a specific goal, and together they build a comprehensive understanding of the problem. That's really smart.
It is.
What other advanced strategies does the Algo Academy blog recommend?
They talk about something called problem restatement.
Problem restatement.
Yeah, basically putting the problem into your own words.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like explaining it to someone else, but you're your own audience.
Exactly.
It forces you to really clarify your understanding.
Right, and if you struggle to rephrase the problem, it might be a sign that you need to go back and reread the original statement.
Oh, it's like a built-in check for understanding.
Exactly.
I love it. What else?
Another powerful strategy is decomposition.
Decomposition.
Yes, breaking down a complex problem into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Divide and conquer.
Exactly. Sometimes just the act of breaking it down can help you see the solution more clearly.
So decomposition is like our problem-solving Swiss Army knife.
I like it.
What about analogies and metaphors? Does the blog mention those?
They do. They encourage relating the problem to real-world scenarios or familiar concepts.
Okay.
It's a great way to make abstract problems more concrete and understandable.
It's all about finding ways to connect the dots between the technical world and our everyday experiences.
Precisely.
So we've got multitask reading, problem, restatement, decomposition, and using analogies. That's quite the arsenal of problem-solving techniques.
It is.
But even the most skilled problem solver needs the right tools, right?
Absolutely. And luckily, the Algo Academy blog has some great suggestions.
Okay, lay it on me.
It all starts with problem banks.
Problem banks.
Yes, websites like LeetCode HackerRank and, of course, Algo Academy are treasure troves of coding problems,
Guitar.
each with a unique problem statement just waiting to be deciphered.
I love those websites. It's like having a personal trainer for your brain.
Exactly. And beyond problem banks, there are tools like syntax highlighters that can make code easier to understand
I
by
love that.
visually separating different elements.
Syntax highlighters are lifesavers. It's like having a personalized color coding system for your code.
Right. The blog also mentions visualization tools, which are especially helpful for problems involving data structures or algorithms.
I can see that being
They
helpful.
help you see how things work and how different elements relate to each other.
It's like getting a behind-the-scenes look at the code in action.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I have to ask about those AI-powered assistants.
Yeah.
The blog mentions, are robots going to take our problem-solving jobs?
Well, hold on. While these AI assistants can definitely help us break down problem statements and offer hints, they're really meant to be learning companions, not replacements for our own skills.
Okay, good to know.
Right.
So it's all about using those tools strategically.
Yes.
They can enhance our abilities, but they shouldn't replace the hard work of building our own understanding.
Exactly. Strong foundational skills are essential for long-term success.
Right. It's kind of like having a fancy calculator. It can crunch numbers for you.
Yeah.
But you still need to understand the underlying math to use it effectively.
Exactly.
And speaking of applying these skills in the real world, it feels like all this problem interpretation goes way beyond acing coding interviews, right?
You're absolutely right. These skills are incredibly valuable in any field where you need to grapple with complex information.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about it. Project analysis, debugging, even writing technical documentation. These all benefit from the ability to quickly understand and break down complex problems.
So these aren't just coding skills, they're life skills.
Exactly.
So how do they translate into something like project analysis, for instance?
Imagine you're given a huge document outlining a new project. It's dense, it's detailed, and it's up to you to make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, been there.
Right. And all those techniques we talked about, breaking it down, skimming and scanning, active reading, they're all going to be super useful in this situation.
It's like taking our problem-solving superpowers from the coding world and using them to conquer real-world challenges.
Exactly.
And what about debugging?
Well, debugging is all about being a code detective, right?
Right.
You need to figure out why something isn't working, and being able to quickly interpret error messages, logs, and other technical documentation is crucial for efficient debugging.
And I bet those skills are equally valuable for code reviews, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You need to be able to understand someone else's code, identify potential issues, and provide useful feedback.
Yes, code reviews are all about understanding the thought process behind the code, which is where all those interpretation skills come into play.
So whether it's coding, project management, debugging, or even just reading a challenging technical article, being able to quickly and accurately understand the material is absolutely key.
You got it. And let's not forget about technical documentation. Being able to communicate complex ideas clearly and concisely is essential, whether you're writing it or reading it.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far.
It has.
But before we move on to the next part,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that learning is a journey, not a destination. We're not going to master these skills overnight, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And the Algo Academy blog emphasizes that continuous improvement is key. It's all about having a growth mindset, embracing challenges, seeking feedback, and constantly striving to learn and improve.
So how can we actually put this into practice?
Okay.
What are some actionable steps we can take to keep leveling up our interpretation skills?
Well, the blog suggests reflecting on your process after each problem you tackle.
Okay.
What went well? Where did you get stuck? Use those insights to improve your approach next time.
It's like reviewing game footage after a match. You're looking for what you did well and what you can do better next time. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback, right?
Exactly. Mentors, peers, even interviewers can provide invaluable insights that can help you pinpoint areas for improvement.
It's all about being open to learning and growing, right? And that includes staying up to date with new problem-solving techniques, algorithms, and data structures.
Absolutely.
The more knowledge you have, the easier it will be to interpret and categorize new problems.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to explore problem-solving techniques from other fields.
Oh.
Yeah, math, logic, even linguistics offer valuable perspectives on how to approach complex problems.
That's so interesting. It's like cross-training your brain.
It's all about recognizing that learning is an interconnected web. The more connections you make, the stronger your understanding becomes.
This has been such an amazing reminder that learning is an ongoing adventure.
It is.
And with the right mindset and the right tools, we can all become master interpreters of complex information.
Couldn't agree more. It's about embracing the challenge, nurturing your curiosity, and never stopping the learning process.
Will said. Are you ready for part 2 of this epic deep dive?
I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's go. Welcome back. It's been great diving into these problem-solving strategies with you.
Me too. We've already uncovered so many great tips from that Alco Academy blog about how to approach complex problems.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for more.
Well, they made a really interesting point that I think we should explore. It's about recognizing the inherent value in the process itself, like taking the time to really thoroughly interpret a problem statement.
So it's not just about getting to the answer quickly. It's valuable in its own right.
Exactly. Like, think about it. When you break down a problem statement, you're actually exercising critical thinking skills.
Look,
You're analyzing information, finding those key elements, and drawing conclusions.
so it's like a mental workout for our brains.
Yes, and the more we do it, the better we get at handling complex information in all areas of life.
That's a good point. It makes you wonder if all those times I struggled with a new concept in a textbook, a technical document, even a conversation, maybe I would have had an easier time if I approached it with this problem-solving mindset.
That's a great point. It really highlights how these skills go way beyond just coding.
Yeah.
They're tools for learning and understanding no matter the subject.
Wow. So it's not just about interpreting problems, it's about interpreting the world around us.
That's what makes this topic so fascinating.
It is?
It's about developing a mindset that empowers us to engage with the world in a more effective and meaningful way.
I love that it feels like we're unlocking a secret code to understanding not just code itself, but everything around us.
And that's the beauty of learning, isn't it?
It is.
It's about constantly expanding our horizons and discovering new ways to make sense of the world.
Okay, so we've talked about how interpreting problems can make us better thinkers overall.
Right.
But the Algo Academy blog also mentioned something else. It's not just about speed and efficiency. It's also about developing a deeper understanding of the problems themselves.
Right.
I'm curious to hear more about that.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Decoding the surface level of a problem is just the first step.
Okay.
We need to go deeper, understand the underlying concepts, the nuances, the why behind the what.
So it's not about rushing to a solution. It's about savoring the problem,
Yes.
exploring its complexities, and uncovering those hidden layers of meaning.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the challenge and using it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Okay.
That's what sets apart truly great problem solvers.
What's that?
They don't just see obstacles, they see opportunities.
That's a really inspiring way to look at it.
It is.
It's about embracing the challenge, seeing problems as puzzles to be solved, mysteries to be unraveled, adventures to be embarked upon.
Yes, and that's exactly the spirit we want to foster in our listeners.
Okay.
The next time you encounter a complex problem, don't just see a wall of text. See it as an invitation to explore, to learn to deepen your understanding of the world around you.
Because ultimately, that's what problem solving is all about, right?
Yes.
It's about using our knowledge, creativity, and critical thinking skills to find solutions that make a difference.
Beautifully said. It's not just about the destination. It's about the journey and the discoveries we make along the way.
I feel like I've already gained so much from this conversation, not only about how to interpret problems, but about the value of curiosity, persistence, and a love of learning.
Those are the qualities that will help you conquer any challenge and achieve anything you set your mind to.
Okay, this has been so insightful. Are we ready for the final part of this deep dive?
I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. Let's wrap up this epic exploration of problem solving. All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into interpreting those tricky problem statements.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it really has. We've covered so much ground, from the importance of speed to advanced techniques,
Yeah.
even real-world applications.
Yeah, and, we've explored a ton of strategies from the Algo Academy blog.
We have.
But I think it's important to take a step back
Okay.
and ask ourselves, why does all of this even matter? Like, what's the bigger picture here?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's clear these skills are incredibly valuable, but what is the bigger picture?
Well, the Algo Academy blog makes a really beautiful point about this.
Okay.
They say mastering this stuff isn't just about becoming like a faster coder
Right.
or a more efficient problem solver. It's about cultivating this mindset of continuous learning and growth.
So it's about more than just like checking boxes and getting things done.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a lifelong learner, someone who's always curious, always seeking to understand more.
Exactly. It's about developing a genuine thirst for knowledge
Okay.
that goes beyond just the task at hand. It's about seeing the world as this amazing puzzle full of mysteries, just waiting to be solved.
I love that image. We're like explorers venturing into the unknown, armed with our problem-solving skills
Yes.
and a burning desire to learn and discover.
And the more we practice interpreting complex information, the more comfortable we become with ambiguity,
Right.
with uncertainty, with the unknown.
Yeah.
We build a resilience that helps us tackle any challenge, no matter how intimidating it might seem at first.
It's like we're training our brains to be more adaptable and more resilient in the face of complexity.
Exactly. And that's a skill set that will serve you well no matter what you do in life.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've established that problem interpretation is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and it can help us become incredible learners and thinkers.
Yes.
But how do we keep that momentum going? How do we make sure we're always growing and evolving?
Well, the Algo Academy blog offers some great advice for this.
Okay, let's hear it.
They stress the importance of reflection feedback and staying up to date.
Okay, so reflection, like taking the time to look back on our experiences
Yes.
and figure out what worked well and what we could improve on.
Exactly. It's about analyzing our own thought processes,
Okay.
identifying our strengths and weaknesses, and using that knowledge to refine our approach.
And feedback, I'm guessing that means being open to input from others,
Yes.
like mentors, peers, or even people who have interviewed us.
Absolutely. It's about embracing constructive criticism and being open to different perspectives.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so focused on our own way of thinking that we miss obvious things.
Oh, I've been there for sure.
Yeah.
Having someone else offer their insights can really help you broaden your perspective.
Absolutely.
What about staying up to date?
That's crucial. Especially in the fast-paced world of technology, things are constantly changing, so we have to keep learning
Right.
and keep up with new trends and techniques.
So it's not just about mastering the skills we've talked about today.
Yeah.
It's about being a lifelong learner, always curious, always seeking to expand our knowledge and understanding.
Exactly. The journey of learning never really ends.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process of exploration, discovery, and growth.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive.
It has.
We started out feeling a little intimidated by complex problem statements,
I know, right?
but now we see them as opportunities for learning and growth.
And we've learned that the skills we develop in interpreting those problems can be applied to so much more than just coding.
Right.
They're tools that can help us navigate complexity, make better decisions, and become more effective learners in every aspect of our lives.
As we wrap up this epic episode, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Embrace your curiosity, never stop asking questions, seeking answers, and pushing the boundaries of your understanding.
I love it.
The more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn.
That's a perfect note to end on. So, to our amazing listeners, the next time you encounter a complex problem, whether it's in code, a technical document, or even life itself,
Yeah.
remember the strategies we've discussed?
Yeah.
Break it down, analyze it, and embrace the challenge.
Because within every challenge lies an incredible opportunity for growth and discovery.
So true.
Who knows what you'll achieve when you push yourself beyond your comfort zone and expand your horizons.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing those boundaries.
And until next time, happy coding.